Good, good morning, everyone. This is your girl, Cassandra Taylor from Top Flight Defense Incorporated. I'm on the line this morning with Mike Rogers and waiting on Samantha Lucko from the Vet Center. Mike Rogers is out of the Forest Park Vet Center, and Samantha Lucko is out of the Orland Park. And right now we have Mike Rogers on the line. Mike, say hello.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this sunny Friday morning in the Chicagoland area. Looking forward to speaking with you today.
All right. Okay, so let's get down to these questions. The first question you already answered, and that was the representative's name. And you have told us that, Mike Rogers. So, Mike, can you tell us your location?
Yes, absolutely. My vet center in Forest Park is located at 1515 South Harlem, which is basically between Roosevelt and Cermak Road on Harlem Avenue. The address is Forest Park, but literally, if you cross the street, you're in Berwyn. So be advised, if you put it into GPS, make sure that it's 1515 South Harlem Avenue, Forest Park. And then our office phone number is 708-457-8805. And if you need assistance from myself, the best way to reach me is usually by my cell phone, which is 708-901-6791. Once again, that's 708-901-6791. And my email is Michael, Michael as in echo, .Rogers, ROGERS at VA.gov.
All right. Thank you, Michael. And we have Samantha that's on now. So we're going to go back and forth rather than keeping it to one, because I know they're busy this morning and they're giving us an opportunity to know what's going on. So Samantha, let me do this.
Yeah.
Good morning, Samantha.
Good
All right,
morning.
okay, so Samantha, the series of questions, we already just introduced you, Samantha Lucko. Can you tell us where your vet center is located?
It's Orland Park, Illinois.
And the address?
Is 86, hold on, make sure I don't mess it up. 8651 West 159th Street. And then in Orland Park.
All right, thank you so much.
Mhm.
So I'm going to swing over to Mike. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask the same questions of both of you, and then let you go back and forth. And at the end, if you want to add on, you can. But I know we have about 15, 20 minutes. And then I know the two of you have to go. All right. So Mike Rogers, can you tell me what services are provided at your vet center?
Yes, thank you, Cassandra. There's a wide range of services provided at the vet center. Typically, we focus on counseling for the combat veterans, military sexual trauma, and bereavement counseling. We have multiple eligibility requirements that are factored into that. But the key thing I like to stress to people is the vet center is a gateway to the big VA system. So if we cannot specifically help you, we have resources within the VA medical centers or the C-box that can. So if you're coming to the vet center specifically for the individual or group counseling, that's wonderful. But we also provide services regarding disability compensation claims. And each vet center typically has open house events, at least usually once a month, where we showcase different agencies or have some community partners engaged, or do something as simple as a summer barbecue. So it's a warm, welcoming atmosphere for the veteran and their families, but we do focus on the clinical counseling for individual and group therapies.
All right, Samantha, do you want to add to that?
I mean, that pretty much hit the nail on the head. Honestly, I mean, most vets are offering the same services. None of them are necessarily going to be different. The only thing that might be different is like the events obviously taking place based on the population that we're serving. And then also it's going to be maybe what type of modalities are offered as far as treatment based on who's certified in what. Or if there's like what is it, LMFT, like a marriage and family therapist available, that's also different too. But otherwise we all kind of covered this thing.
Okay. Okay, okay. So Samantha, can you tell me what's the ratio of male to female clients?
So I just looked this up yesterday. We have out of 230 individuals here,
Mhm.
veterans here, or active clients, we have 19 women.
Really?
Mhm.
We need to get more women out there, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Okay,
And I
we
just
got to
started
figure.
here too, and half of them actually attend the group. So
No, I didn't hear that you went out on that one. What did you say?
sorry. I just started a women's veterans group here,
Uh-huh.
and half of them actually attend that group, but the other half I'm not sure, what's going on with that. But yeah, half at least 8 of them show up for that group.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. We got to figure out something to get more women because I know there's more women veteran out that in that
Oh,
area, and it's
mhm,
probably because they didn't know about it, or for whatever reason. But we got to work on that. Mike,
mhm.
can you tell me what's the ratio over there in Forest Park?
Actually, Cassandra, since I'm pinch hitting today, I didn't get the exact numbers, and I don't want to provide bad information. But
Yes.
what Samantha was saying, that's typically seen across the board with the
Mhm,
Chicago vet centers, and I'm glad that Top Flight Defense Incorporated is showcasing us today. But I also know that your programming is amazing, and the vet center programming, there's a good fit between the two of us, because some of the events that you do are some of the areas that vet center has been challenged with in the past. So I think it's a great working relationship moving forward. But you're absolutely right about the women veteran population is at all vet centers across the board. So I think
mhm,
all of us need to advocate for that more, because the services are there. People just sometimes don't know about them, and you can't blame somebody for what they don't know.
mhm,
Sure. Well, thank you, Mike, for even mentioning the events that Top Flight are presently and have past put on. And that's where that was my next question. So since you brought it up, I'm gonna start with you. What are your upcoming events that you have going on, if any?
Actually, we are still in planning stages for our March event, but then upcoming, we always have a spring event that focuses on community involvement and getting to know the vet center, where we usually invite community partners, whether it be governmental or nonprofit agencies. So I'm putting the initial stages of that together for April. And then summer is a very robust time. My vet center specifically is heavily involved in the Chicago summer stand downs, which will take place in mid to late June of this year. And that will be at the Cottage Grove Armory. But our events, anytime if we have events, I always try to share the word with my community partners, such as Top Flight and the people I work with through Hines and other government agencies. So it it's a little slow right now, but springtime really ramps up pretty fast.
Okay, well, thank you. Um, at your last, well, it was Top Flight's last event, but it was held at your vet center. I noticed you all call it an MVC, which is a mobile vet center. Can you tell me a little bit about that? What is a mobile vet center?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Nationwide, there's 83 different mobile vet centers in use right now. The Chicagoland area has one that's based out of Evanston, but actually resides in is parked up in Milwaukee due to just logistical concerns. But the
Mm,
mobile vet center is a unit that is like a giant RV that has individual office space for the clinicians, that where they can provide counseling to their clients. Typically, in the more rural areas, they're used to go to community events like county fairs, or the moving wall events are high priority that the MVCs attend. But there is also the capability for the MVC to be utilized in disaster relief efforts or emergency relief efforts, like when they're, for example, if there was a mass shooting sometimes the mobile vet center will be mobilized to provide counseling on site to anybody that was involved within that community area. And there's also a satellite capability. So if somebody needs to access some of their VA records or vet center information, we can utilize that satellite service as well. It's a unit that is outstanding to have on site because I like it because it's a giant advertisement for the vet center, but services that it provides, it's basically a vet center on wheels. It can go anywhere.
All right, thank you. Samantha, can you tell me what upcoming events that you all have there in Orland Park?
Well, usually in the summer, we will have a barbecue. We have an annual barbecue every year. It usually kind of varies on the date, but it's usually sometime in June. I think this last year we actually had it in the same weekend as Father's Day.
Oh,
Honestly, not thinking of it. So it didn't turn out as well as we wanted, because obviously a lot of veterans are doing other things probably for Father's Day.
mhm.
But we have that. We also usually have a Christmas party in December, and that's usually a pretty big hit. We have quite a few veterans that show up for that. And now that we have more younger veterans showing up from the OEF era, it's nice because they're coming with their kids to these functions too.
Okay. Okay.
And I mean, we have a lot of the Vietnam era vets. They're not obviously bringing their kids because they're grown. So
Exactly.
now you have these little ones running around. It's kind of nice. And then I do know we're going to start, I think he was going to do like a donut. Oh God, no, a pop-up coffee and donut, like social hour. And then he was thinking of like a pizza pop social hour. And this is our VOPS, our veteran outreach program specialist. So he wants to start doing these to kind of get other veterans involved to come through, whether they have a friend that's a veteran that's like, hey, I think you should come to the vet center. They're not sure. They're hesitant. We want to do these pop-up hours just so they can come in, ask questions, see what it's about, and just kind of get to know the vet center too.
Oh, that's amazing. So since you brought that up, that the vets can bring their children to your events, so that's allowed. So when you have events at the vet center, they can bring their family members?
Yep, they can bring their spouse if they want. They can bring their kids. And we do have a kids room, a child's playroom here as well. So if an individual, either if it's a male or female, if they have a kid that they can't necessarily drop off at school or that's pretty little still, that needs for them to be able to come here. Sometimes they end up missing appointments because they have their children. They're like, I don't know what else to do. So we incorporated a children's room here. And we have access to view inside the room from 2 offices. So actually my office is one of them. And then there's an office on the other side that actually has a door access as well. So the kids can come in and out and play if they want, so they can be close to their parent and then go play and watch TV or whatever, but then they can still come in for their counseling services.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right, so this next question is a little bit off the cuff because I was wondering about it. I'm in the Joliet, Shorewood, Plainfield area, Lockport area. There's not a vet center, or at least I don't think so, near us. So if there's not a vet center in the local area in which the veteran lives in, where could they receive services? Because it may be that the location of a vet center. How would they go about finding a vet center near them or a facility? Because I know out here it's the Will County Veterans Commission office. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, Will County Veterans Assistance Commission.
Yes. Okay. It's called a VAC, VAC, right? Is that what it's called? So that's what the veteran would look up. They will Google Veteran Assistance Commission. I'm so bad at. So they will look that up. Tell them what they will look up, what they will Google in order to find someone that can assist them if they're not close to a vet center.
So, well, one thing I would suggest is they can go to, I believe it's like va.gov, the VA website. And on there, you can do a locator and you can find either a outpatient clinic on there, a medical center, just by utilizing their search tool on there. by your zip code. It'll populate the nearest vet center or medical center closest to them. As far as the VAC is concerned, we partner with them so we can actually utilize their space to see veterans in that area because there isn't a vet center.
Okay.
I'm not, or vet centers do that. They might, but I know we do that because that's technically our attachment area. So we go there to cover it. So I'm not sure about the other ones. I don't know if Mike has other areas that he works at, or VACs.
Yeah, hey, excuse me, absolutely. With location, I work closely with the Cook County VAC and the DuPage Veterans Assistance Commission. But
Okay.
one of the things, everything Samantha is saying is spot on correct, and I completely agree. But I was negligent in my introduction about, I missed the fact that vet centers don't, we have the capability to have non-traditional hours. Some vet centers have counselors that can see clients in the evenings due to work or college or childcare issues. And then we also provide our services completely free of charge, and they are completely confidential. Not even the big VA hospitals can see our client records. So I think that's a very attractive option. And with the locator tool, if you go to www.va.gov, locate locations, it'll ask you, it'll give you a drop down screen, and all you have to do is put in your zip code, and it'll show you the nearest vet center or CBOC location or medical center location that you search for. Vet centers typically also have the capability to do virtual sessions. That isn't something that is time, that it depends on each individual vet center. I know some people really like the virtual aspect, but there is typically some in-person sessions that are involved with the virtual aspect. But if somebody can make one in-person session a month and then do the others virtually, that might be an option depending on the vet center and their staffing. So there's a lot of great opportunities. I'm actually, since I was sort of pinch hitting this morning, I'm going to try to catch my train. So I'm going to leave it with Samantha's hands because I know she's great and has wonderful knowledge. And we'll, if there's any questions, I'll try to watch the chat, but I'm going to try to catch this train if that's all right with you, Cassandra.
No, go right ahead, Mike. I thank you for your time. I had said I know we only have a few more minutes, and I knew you had to get out. So I appreciate you. And you had your turn. So and we'll finish off with you at a later date.
Okay, absolutely. And thank you once again, Samantha, and congratulations on everything. And looking forward to continuing working with you with the Vet Center program.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, everybody, for logging in and joining us today.
For
Take
sure.
care.
Right. Okay, so Samantha, back at you. Thank you so much. Another question that I had for you, the with the VACs, the Veteran Assistance Commission Office or whatever, you all will get credit. Say if a veteran can't come all the way out to a vet center and they go to one of the local offices here, you still are able to count that in as your numbers for the ratio like I was asking?
Correct. So I have quite a few veterans that live out in Coal City, like Wilmington, Manhattan. What's the other? There's Morris, Minooka. So there's a lot of these towns that are south of Joliet and in Shorewood, that usually end up coming there because for them to try to come all the way to the vet center in Northern Park, I mean, especially on 80, they don't want to drive on 80. So for them to come all the way out here, let's say it's an hour and a half drive for them to come here for 15 minutes to an hour to then drive back, for them, a lot of veterans are not looking to drive that far just for. So if we can try to extend our services out elsewhere, that's what we try to do. And that's why we go to the VAC. And we've had quite a few veterans coming through there. If anything, actually, that's probably where we're the busiest at some days because we have a lot of groups out there. We've got 1, 2, 3, I think 3 or 4 groups going on right now out there. And just in the group that I have out there, there was 12 members.
Can you, do you mind tell us the names of the groups that you have,
So
if it's okay?
All 3 of those groups out there are just Vietnam era veteran groups.
Okay.
So they're usually like a psychosocial, psychoeducational type group. A lot of these veterans just like the idea of being able to get together and talking to other veterans about their struggles, things that they're trying to accomplish, maybe just even if they're dealing with a lot of illnesses. So a lot of these Vietnam veterans right now are dealing with a lot of medical issues. And so when they come there, it's a good place for them to come, basically kind of feel like normal with their group, talk about their illnesses, talk about, some of their medical limitations and joke around and kind of have that camaraderie again. And they really enjoy that environment. Because outside of that, they don't really get much socialization, I would say, where they feel comfortable. This environment, they're extremely comfortable in.
Can you give us the address of the VAC out this way? That if any veteran that's in the area that you mentioned are looking for somewhere to go, they'll have the location and possibly the phone number to call?
Yeah. So I have the phone number on hand. I actually have a little printout up here, and it's the phone 815-740-8389. And then as far as the address, I believe it's 2400 Glenwood Avenue in Joliet. And the larger brown brick building. And there's also an unemployment office in there. And I believe food stamps and there might be a couple other offices in there. But they are, I believe, in suite 1. But I could be wrong on that. But either way, when you walk in, it'll have a directory there that'll tell you where to go. It's not a very big building, but it's, you go down the hallway, and basically to go down the hallway, turn left, and you're at the VAC. There's a big sign in it.
Exactly. Okay. And then another thing, and we have one more after this question, we had last one, and then you can sign off and get back to work. What's so unique about the Vet Center compared to the VA?
I'll actually bounce off of what Mike had said earlier. So as far as the Vet Center, it's extremely confidential. So the counseling services we provide here, the VA is unable to see any of our information. So they don't have access to any of our notes or treatment plans or anything of that sort. The only way that they do get access is if the veteran grants us permission and the VA for some reason is requesting records. We here at the Vet Center usually try to get an ROI so we can speak to individuals at the VA, whether it's their primary care provider or their mental health provider, just so we can ensure that we're collaborating services that they need. So one of the examples could be if I have a gentleman or a veteran, let's say, I shouldn't just say gentleman, just a veteran, because it could be a female that came having some issues with substance use. I could then connect them with the addictions treatment program that they have at Hines by going through either his primary or his mental health provider. And then they can also put in a consult, on his behalf to make sure that he gets the services he needs.
Or she needs.
Exactly. Sorry. What she needs. I know.
We're learning to say they need. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's all that I have. Is there anything else that you would like to add that I may have forgotten or didn't mention?
I would say the only thing I would say I want to add would be, I don't know if Mike had covered this as far as what the VA or the Vet Center offers, but we offer additional treatment modalities. So that's anything from like the couples counseling. So we use Gottman theory, which there's a lot of places that actually don't even utilize that. It's just a counselor that works with couples. But if they're not trained in Gottman's a great resource for anybody looking to get couples counseling. We also do EMDR, or eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. We also do, what's the other one? I'm going to draw a blank. Cognitive processing therapy. There's a lot more. Oh, we also do sometimes we do exposure therapy. If that's all, well, basically if somebody's dealt with a trauma and I have a good example. I have a gentleman that has a lot of anxiety going out in public and a lot of social anxiety. So basically the exposure is going over what's causing him to have that anxiety and being exposed to that environment or having him picture himself in that environment. Because ultimately, when you're anticipating going to, let's say, the store, and maybe your anxiety is already getting up because you have to go to the store and you're already anxious. And then by the time you get there, you're so worked up, you don't end up going in the store. Ultimately, the idea is to process that in session with that individual so then they can get to the point where they're confident enough to say, I can go in the store, nothing's going to happen, I'll be fine. And then we also have, what's the other one? Hypnotherapy as well. I know we had a counselor here that was trained in hypnotherapy, but she actually had just left. She actually just started elsewhere. But we have somebody else, I think, that was going to start getting trained in hypnotherapy, which actually would be pretty interesting. I personally have no interest in it, but there's some people that I think that would really, really like it. I don't know much about it though, so I can't really say much about hypnotherapy.
Okay.
In regards to the treatment options too, every vet center is going to obviously have groups, but they're all going to be a little bit different. So most vet centers will have Vietnam era groups. We're starting to get more young men and women coming in from the Gulf War and also like the OEF, OIF era. So now we are starting to incorporate later or groups for that population as well. So we have individuals basically almost like in their 30s, 40s, and 50s coming in for the OEF, OIF group. And then I also have that women's group that I started here. So I don't know of any other vet centers that have a women's group. They might. But I know this was something I had just started here. Then the OEF, OIF group also was something that I started here a couple years ago. So, which actually has been a great hit. And that one is at 5:30 in the evening. So they can attend it. So it's not during the day, in the afternoon.
Okay. Another question that just came up on Facebook. It says, does the vet center have resources for veterans dealing with domestic violence?
Yes, definitely. We actually coordinate also with the VA in regards to that too. And then we also have emergency information too for individuals who are suffering from domestic violence. And we also have contacts as far as where to refer them to get them safe, to get them maybe out of that environment.
Oh, okay. I thought you, when you said, I thought you had more. I apologize.
No,
I was waiting on some more. Okay. Nope. And I think that was the last question. They just said, always great to help others. So, and that's one of the things that Top Flight is working on, is making sure that we are bringing different organizations on these Zoom calls. And so we're doing a series called Get to Know Your Vet Center, because we do understand that there's a lot of vet centers that I'm reading the question, I'm sorry. A lot of vet centers aren't getting the women that they need, because this organization is what? By women, veteran for all women. So we want to make sure that the women in the community are getting out to the vet center. At the same time, I know there's some men out there that don't know the resources. And a question just popped out. Does the vet center have resources for employment opportunities specifically designed for veterans?
So that one is actually one of those ones that I was looking actually at what was offered, what their example was online, because I said, I'm interested to see what they say on there. And it actually mentions employment, like connection and opportunities and referrals. But honestly, I don't really think that happens as often as people think. I will say. But what I will say is, so the program I used to work for, I used to also work at Hines in their compensated work therapy program. So I'm really kind of, I mean, I guess I'm knowledgeable with like the whole resume, building up an individual's, what did they call that? Well, either way, but doing their resume, helping them apply online for a job. Ultimately, when it comes to the VA, if an individual is interested in applying for a job at the VA, I can sometimes help them. I've helped some veterans look at some positions through USA Jobs, but I would say our main focus is usually, ultimately, it's mental health. I would say employment is a factor, yes, but
It's
we usually,
secondary. It's a
yeah,
secondary resource. Okay.
yeah. So we'll refer elsewhere, whether it's, and a lot of times we'll refer to the Hines Hospital or Jesse Brown to their CWT program because their vocational counselors there can usually help. I actually have a gentleman that's on a work site at Hines because he wanted to start getting back into the workforce. And so I said, hey, maybe let's try there. And I contacted a colleague and said, hey, could you maybe help him out? He went up there and he's now in a work site
Okay.
out there.
So another question.
Mhm.
The individual wants to know, how do they go about getting another career counselor? So evidently they're not satisfied with the one that they had and they would like to
Mhm.
request another one.
So I guess to clarify, when they say career counselor, was it somebody through the VA? Because that's the
They
other thing.
say CWT with a question mark, so I guess it is through the VA.
Okay, yeah. So I think they actually changed their name too. It was CWT. Now it's like vocational
Voc
rehab or something.
Rehab.
Yes. So ultimately, I'm trying to remember when I was there. So when I was there, I remember you could technically say if you weren't satisfied with that individual counselor, you can let them know personally. Just say like, I don't feel like I'm getting what I need. And if they're not going to force you to work with them, we'll put it that way. They can't make you work with them. So
Mhm.
ultimately, they're going to try to find somebody, I would hope so, that would help you. You can also request to talk to the director who's also in charge there and
Mhm.
say like, hey, I just want to schedule a meeting or see if we can discuss, like, I'm not really happy with what's, I'm getting there and I want to see if I can just work with somebody else. Maybe I just don't mesh well with this individual. And he can usually try to see if he can help you and then put you with somebody else.
Okay. Same person. They got plenty of questions, but I'm gonna direct them to you. This is gonna be the last one.
Okay.
They want to know, the person that they had has retired. How do they
Okay.
go about getting back in the program, considering that the individuals that they used to work with is now retired?
Okay. So you would just have to go and get a consult from your either primary care provider or your mental health provider, whether it's Hines or Jesse Brown. They will submit a consult on your behalf. And then one of the counselors there will reach out to you, assess your interest. And that's when you can probably tell them that the counselor you were with before had retired and then you're interested in receiving services again and they'll fit you with somebody.
Okay. All right. Well, that sums it up. You have answered all questions and came on, gave us a big old smile and
We
explained,
try. I have
explained
my
everything. You
coffee.
had your coffee. Yeah, that'll do it every time. That'll do it.
Mhm.
There's folks on Facebook are saying thank you. But I really appreciate this. I hope that our little segment can
Mhm.
bring more women to the vet center, as well as more men. You know what I'm saying? More veterans, period. More veterans. But I know one of the things um, that had came to me from one of the vet centers was they need more women in there. And I
Mhm.
think because the women aren't aware of the services provided. And oh, that was another question. Say we have a female veteran that comes to the vet center, but she does not feel comfortable in talking
Mhm.
to a male counselor. Can they
Mhm.
request a female counselor?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I actually have males that prefer to speak with a female counselor, which is actually,
Hey.
I thought was kind of a surprise. I thought speaking with another male counselor would kind of maybe help them. They would have more similarities, but ultimately, a lot of the men here prefer to speak with a female. So, yeah, if you come in and you're interested in services, you can just say, like, I have a preference to speak with a female if possible. And then they usually try to work with that as best as they can.
Okay. All right. So to end this, can you once again leave your either email or phone number
Mhm.
to the center where because we're recording and I'm
Mhm.
going to put this up on the YouTube channel and then I will send you the link, and if you want to share it you can, so that someone else watching it later on
Mhm.
know who and how to contact someone.
Perfect. So the number here is 708-444. I think I don't want to mess it up. 0561.
Repeat
And
it one
then
more time.
708-444-0561. And that will go straight to our front desk. And from there, that individual will either be able to transfer you to a counselor or the director, or if you needed to speak to somebody at even the vet center call center. That was something I failed to mention, actually.
That's okay. You can mention it now.
Yeah, we have something called a vet center call center. It is not the crisis line. So we have some individuals that sometimes if they're really just having a really bad day and they don't have anybody to talk to, they can't, let's say they don't have a counselor, or even if they do, they can't reach them. And they can't reach anybody to talk to. They don't have anybody that they feel like they could disclose some things to. There's something called a vet center call center here. And what they do is they offer just talking. They just talk to veterans that need just somebody to talk to. The individuals within the call center are either veterans themselves or family members of veterans. So they're very familiar with a lot of maybe some of the issues that they might be having going on. I've had quite a few of just individuals on my caseload that have called, whether it was over the holidays or maybe a long weekend or something, and I wasn't in the office, and they've utilized that and they felt it was very helpful. So that's always an option too. I actually need to grab the number though, because I don't know it offhand.
Is it a 24-hour number?
It is.
Okay. And also, if you are in a crisis, you can dial 988
Yes.
option 1.
So the vet center call center, I believe it actually used to be called the combat call center, but they changed it to the vet center call center.
Okay.
So that one is 877-927-8387. And it's 877-927-8387.
Is there an option that they have to push 1, 2, or 3, or
Nope.
automatically you just wait for someone to pick up?
Yeah, automatically goes through. And I feel like if I've had some veterans call the suicide crisis line and just to talk, and ultimately sometimes that's not really good for them because they're doing their job. They're going to follow up. They might do a wellness check. They might, you never know, depending on the individual that you're going to speak with. But so the vet center's call center is good just for somebody to speak with someone. And it's going to be nice because it's another veteran or a family member of.
Okay. All right. Well, I thank you so much. I don't want to monopolize your time. I know you're busy over there. So I thank you again and hope to see you next Friday at the Chicago Vet Center for the Fabulous and Fatigue and or Top Flight's event called, it's our 4th Women's Conference. Let's talk about us. Get up, get out and do something. It's going to be held at the Chicago Vet Center as well. But you can go to our website, go to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and you'll see all of that information on there. So I'm going to end the call on Facebook. Thank you all for chiming in. We have no particular time or a specific time where we do the Get to Know Your Vet Centers, whenever they are available. And that's what I love about these representatives. They make time and take time for us. So thank you, Facebook. Love you.